You are listening to 15 Minutes, the show with Osiris Munir, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hey everybody, it's Osiris with 15 Minutes the show. What's happening out there? I know the world, we know it here in California, seems to be going up in flames. I don't know what that means. I looked up the spiritual meaning of fire and what the element of fire means. And I got transformation, passion, and energy, willpower and action, and also whenever fires happen, it distinguishes one thing and gives the opportunity to bring something anew. So for all of those people out there that have suffered loss, whether it's physical, mental, whatever aspect, you have my heartfelt condolences. I don't know what that feels like to have my own home burned down, but I certainly have been in situations that it's devastating. There is no words. So all I can do is send my heart out to you and, hope that things get better for you. So let's give a local shout out real quick to Cabe Magnolia Events. Cabe Magnolia Events. IG is at Cabe Magnolia Events. They are a catering service that comes to the Sepulveda Dog Basin. So check them out. Now, for our sponsor, before we bring on our lovely guest today, our sponsor, shout out to and sponsored our show, Kevin Pike, certified senior probate and real estate person to handle any needs you might have, anything at all. He can get you into a home, out of a home, whatever you're going through. Kevin is with Coldwell Banker, and you can reach him at 818-571-1508. Again, certified senior real estate probate specialist, Kevin Pike with Coldwell Banker, 818-571-1508. And now for our guest today, we have a wonderful guest. She is a walking, talking, inspirational topic. When it comes to mental health, she's a one-woman act, doing and playing a 16-character. Wow, we can hardly get out 2 or 3 characters. She's doing 16 characters of according to a play called Crazy Mama. The play is directed by Anson Williams, written by Sharon Scott Williams, and performed by our lovely guest today, Linda Purl. Hey, Linda.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you. I loved your opening remarks. Really, really lovely.
The thing is that I am a veteran. I suffer from mental health. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm glad I survived to tell you the story that you can do better. They have lots of tools for mental health. I'm going to let Linda lead into what she once talked about, Crazy Mama, and how she got into doing the play about her own life. So it's a true story. And there's a lot of mental health illness out here that's unchecked. Just understand and know that. So Linda, take it away.
Thanks. Well, the play is called Crazy Mama, and it's Anson Williams, my friend of over 50 years. We're both Happy Days alum, is directing it. And his wife is from Virginia, where Mike Kin are also from. And when Sharon was 8 years old, that's Anson's wife, Sharon Scott, her mother suffered a psychotic break. And with the hindsight of really her whole adult life, Sharon was finally able to sit down and write about it, and wrote a journal/book. And Anson, like every good husband, would say, honey, that's really good, but now you need to turn it into a one-woman play. So she did. It's a 64-page monologue, my son's idea of a nightmare, his mother talking nonstop. But it's a beautifully written piece, really beautifully written piece, and it's personal, and it's brave, and it's intimate. And so Sharon's mother had this event when Sharon, as I say, was very little, but it was in an era, and maybe being in Virginia, even a particular part of the country that just didn't talk about that. It was an era where people grinned and bear it. It was all stiff upper lip, and there was not a lot of science behind it. There was a big charge of shame around it. So a difficult, painful situation filled with unknowns was just unnecessarily made all that much more painful. They all survived in Sharon's case, but not without overcoming many life hurdles serially for decades. So I'm thrilled that they've asked me to do this piece. We'll be at the Rubicon Theater Company in Ventura from, I think, what are we, March 26th to April 6th. So
Right.
thank heavens I've got some time to memorize these lines. I'm on page, I think, 19 it is. I'm sleeping with it under my pillow. But
But
it's a
it
beautifully
sounds
written piece. You know,
beautiful.
Sharon, as a survivor of this circumstance, really wants to boldly enter the conversation and as big a scale as possible in the community about all aspects of mental challenges.
And that brings up a question. There are a lot of levels to mental illness. A lot of people think that if, like, they'll diagnose and say you're bipolar or you have ADD or you have ADHD or you may be a psychotic. There are severe mental illness and mental health. And then there are certain levels of mental health depending on the person's education, where they came from, their mindset, how they think, what they believe in, as to how these different mental challenges affect one's person. So, Linda, what I want to ask you is what prompted you to want to take on a subject about mental health? And then, according to what I read from the what Harlan your rep sent, you are playing 16 characters, which is a lot of characters to run through one human body. Uh, what is that like? How do
Yeah,
what would you have to do to embody all of those different essences and different spiritual energies behind that? What would happen?
sure. Well, that's interesting. I think essence is the key because first of all, again, it's so well written. Sharon, the playwright, gives you keys to the essences of each of those people. I mean, believe me, this is a learning experience for me, and thank heavens I have a wonderful director in Anson. So I think he'll shepherd me through whatever those hurdles are. But audiences are smart. You don't. It's not about costume change. It's about a shift in body language, throwing your voice pitch up or down or sideways, or accentuating the accent. So there were, I think, simple uh, construct this piece, and the audience will hopefully be clear on who's speaking at what time. The primary character of the play is Sharon in modern time,
Okay.
looking back at her life. And in terms of what prompted me to take it, well, first of all, a good piece of writing is just always like a dog to his dinner. It's so inviting, it's impossible to resist. I would say at this stage of my life, I so much want to be involved with things that are meaningful. And the theater arts has an opportunity, creates opportunities, always has oh, to elevate the human condition, to allow for necessary conversations. Um, so I think this is one of those opportunities that hopefully for the people that come to this, if they don't have a history of experienced mental health issues, either themselves or those around them, it will deepen their understanding. It certainly has mine, just in even brief encounter with the piece.
How
So,
has it deepened your understanding? In what ways?
well, the collateral damage of it, that it wasn't just this woman the terror of this woman not being able to get a hold of her thoughts, the injuries that she caused to the people she loved most in the world, uh, and the you know the sadness of her husband, the collateral, the repercussive damages that it did to the kids witnessing this. I mean, it's one thing to learn at 15 or 25 or 30 that life can get really hard. It's another to have that experience when you're 8 years old, when you're barely out of the shell, when your innocence gets smacked down in a minute. Um, that's a very big thing, and takes a very big spirit to heal from that in your as you move through your life. Um,
Now,
so
it's Sharon's mother that you are depicting in the play.
no, Sharon is the little girl, and
Oh,
Sharon wrote the piece, and so it's her story that she's written now as an adult,
through the
looking back on her childhood. So it was Sharon's mother who had the psychotic break.
yeah, Sharon's mother, the woman
Mhm.
that wrote the play, correct? Yes, yes. Sharon
Sharon,
Williams, Sharon
Sharon,
Scott
yeah,
Williams.
Sharon wrote the play. Yeah,
Okay, right.
yeah,
Okay, so uh, it must be an interesting perspective to be able to look backwards within one's own mind. So you said she's the little girl looking back from present day time, correct?
right.
And when you start, I haven't seen the play, you guys. Want to go see it, and I'm glad
Okay,
we're talking to Linda because I want to inspire everyone out there to go out there. Just
thank you.
because someone has good mental health today doesn't mean that if something happened, like their home burnt down, and they lost things, including lives, that they're going to have stable mental health in a
Right.
year or two. We don't know how people are affected by trauma.
Hmm.
So, Linda, how does it feel as a working artist to be, and I want to say female in particular. I don't know about men. I'm a girl. And so I don't know, but I know that we house a lot of emotions. We care, we're nurturing, those kind of things. Um, were you able to use some of that to your advantage by being a woman yourself and being able to know that we run a lot of emotional energy in general speaking? Or do you think you really had to split and become, I mean, lose yourself completely and become all of these people and just not worry about how an audience would view you going from one transition to another? You
Well, I
understand?
think for sure you certainly try not to think about how an audience is going to perceive this, and the goal in any endeavor of art is to get yourself out of the way and be a transparency for the piece. Be it a painting or a sculpture or a song or a piece of theater. You want to be in service to the story, um, and ergo, in service to the audience, and for them to decide what's valuable to take away, for them to discover in what way it speaks to them. I mean, I think the thing is, there's so many levels of mental discomfort and challenges and different chapters of any one of our lives. So in your 30s, you might not be doing as well as you are in your 60s, in your etc. um, so I think, even though someone may not have been diagnosed necessarily with having had a nervous breakdown or a psychotic break, there are levels of those things that can be very emotionally damaging in someone's life. If you're the child of a parent who's going through a particularly stressful period, that can be hard to metabolize because you misinterpret it as something being my fault or their fault, and it's not. It's nobody's fault. It's just a circumstance that needs some healing help.
Mhm. And in doing these things, and like
Mhm.
you said, it's the circumstances that need the healing help.
Mhm.
Um, when you are working, you're on the stage and you're performing, and you are transitioning from maybe being that a 2-year-old kid or an 8-year-old child, and then moving further into your adulthood. Do
Uh-huh.
they ever cross? Do they cross with each other, or you know what I mean? Do they cross? Because as human beings, even though some people may be 65, 70, they may still be operating in emotional way like a 15-year-old kid, depending on their structure and how they're put together. That's what I mean.
Sure. Well, I think in the writing, just for the clarity of storytelling, I think Sharon's writing is very clear as to who's speaking what and what their voice is and what their point of view is, what they're bringing to the table in the instant of that emergency, let's say. Do they cross over? No, not particularly. They seem like very distinct characters, at least in my mind. It's funny it's like reading a book and you start to have an image of what that character you're reading about or what that house looks like or what the perfume is. The imagination is a wonderful thing. So for all of the characters that I portray in Crazy Mama, I mean, if you ask, say, if there are 300 people in the house, if you ask what any one of them, what the little brother looked by or the stinky neighbor across the road looks by, you're going to get 300 different versions, even though we've all been in the same play and probably different from mine. So, we will all sort of conjure our own image of what those characters might look like. Doesn't matter. As to your wonderful word of essence, it's about the essence of those characters.
And was there any particular character that resonated with you as a person, or they were all like three free throw, just come in and out of, you just let them in and they come in and out?
They pretty much come in and out. I mean, if you're anything like me, I have a whole bunch of voices in my head. The voice that says, get out of bed, or don't eat the chocolate cake, or, the one that says, oh, am I good enough? Or, I mean, there are all kinds of racket in our head pulling us, sort of the good devil, the bad, the good, what is it? The devil and the angel on our shoulders.
The devil's advocate, the one that talks you
Yeah.
into it, and the one that tries to talk you out of doing whatever you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Don't go to the gym. That's a terrible idea. Those voices. So I think, we all have those voices to greater and lesser degrees in our heads. So, we're all pretty used to negotiating different points of view within our own evolving mindset.
Yes, we are. Now back to what I mentioned about, because I know I'm going to hear something about, when I said I'm a girl and about women having emotions. This doesn't mean that men don't have emotions. I don't mean to portray that. Or anyone that's human, we all have emotions. However, I tend to, having grown up with grandmothers, mothers, aunts, people like that, seeing that we tend to be the first responders. Okay? We tend to be the first responders. We tend to be the one that, oh, the baby fell and busted their knee. Here comes mama, aunt, grandma. I very seldom have seen uncles and people like that run toward. Not saying that you don't.
Right.
But usually the functions are in some ways distinguished functions, so that certain people get to do this kind of function and certain people don't, depending on what role they play in their families.
Right.
So what I wanted to talk to Linda about is that being personalities and having different sides of our own personalities can be very complicated. So when I asked you which personality might be your best, and you truthfully said they go in and out, at the end of the day, having that broad of a range, I mean, I consider you to be very broad, that you're running 16 characters, girl, you're bad. I'm telling you that now. Where do you find your own stability within doing all of that? Do you have grounding forces around you, your family supporting when you finish with your show? I've been backstage when people have been doing a play and they have to come out of, they have to come down to be able to talk to their family, friends, people in the green room, etc. Do you need that space to be able to bring yourself back to yourself, or it doesn't matter? You don't?
No, I don't think so. I mean, any more than you do after, doing a really good workout class or something. I mean, there's a shift of energy, there's a shift of reality and circumstance, but no, it feels of a piece. I think partly because this play is so grounded in life. No, it's not talking about something fantastic or something other. It's interesting though, because the playwright Sharon Scott's family is from Virginia, where my kin are from, my mother's from, and so I'm pretty sure the people that she talks about are similar to characters I've known most of my life. The eccentric auntie, the nutso uncle, the adorable cousin, the etc. And so there's a strain to that. There's a groundedness in that culture, very connected to the earth, very connected to the seasons. I think one of the things in terms of the female energy in this play, part of the tragedy is that the core figure, the central bank account, if you will, or the deep well for all of that caring and centering and healing in the family is missing, mentally missing. So it's sort of, how does everybody spin out when that force of love and calm and reassurance and grounding is missing?
Wow.
And everybody has a different take on it. The aunt feels one way, the little brother feels another, the father feels yet another. Certainly my little girl character in memory feels lost, abandoned, guilty, all of those things.
That's powerful. And then when you talked about how it's not just the damage that the individual is doing to themselves internally, because you have to understand, mental illness is an internal suffering. A lot of people walk around, they're gorgeous, stunning people, and are sick, have mental health problems and issues. It's a hidden issue. It's hidden. It's hidden. You may not, somebody's personality, let's just say you married or you get in a relationship with someone that has a mental illness and they've never had it checked. So they've spent most of their lives living a lie outside of what's actually happening in their own mind. They're mentally ill, but they're putting up all these masks because they don't want to face the fact that they've experienced some sort of trauma that has left them stagnated in a certain time period, I would say. Then you meet them unhealed, and the next thing you know, all of these other things come tumbling out. You're in a confusion. What's going on? This is not the person I met, etc. So, Linda, do you, in doing this kind of play, feel that we are capable of hiding mental illness to the degree that it becomes that destructive? Because people around you, like, what's going on? Did it suddenly appear? Was it there all along? Or do we not say anything? Ignore? You see what I'm saying? What do you
Yeah,
think?
I mean, I don't know, because I don't have hands-on experience with the
Hmm.
topic, with the ride. Um, but sure, and sometimes, or maybe most times, even the person with isn't aware of themselves. They don't know what they don't know, so they may not be aware that there's a level of depression or a level of anxiety. I mean, I think stress and collectively, I think we're all dealing with and have been dealing with a lot of stress. To your point about the fires, if we're just going to talk locally, I mean,
Yes.
this is extraordinary. We don't, I just pray every day, I'm sure we all do, for the phoenix spirit to rise
Rise up.
mighty,
Yes.
resiliently.
Try to
But
transform. Mhm.
yeah. So but this on the heels of COVID and the political chaos that we're in, and the writer's strike, which has affected so many people in Los Angeles. I mean, boy, it's been sort of a season of
It's
locusts for many people.
it's a lot. It is definitely the age of Aquarius. So for those who
Mm.
don't believe in astrology, you don't have to believe in astrology, but I will tell you that astrology is based on mathematics. It's based on a mathematical 360-degree circle. So for those of you who may not believe in this sort of thing, or may not believe in seasons, or that things change, or we are running in a new stream of consciousness, whatever way you want to relate, mental illness is real. Okay, I'm here to tell you it's very real. And again, I take honor in meeting and talking to somebody like Linda that is able to step outside of her own world and involve herself in a play that as she gets to be exposed to what it feels like, maybe in the nest of someone's daily life every day. They're
Right.
inside going through these things, and this is what they're living every day, even though when we talk to them they may say, hey, hello, good morning, and
Right.
then the next thing you know, the person has killed themselves, or they've killed somebody else, or they're on drugs, or they're, and it's so, the human mind is so complicating and so very deep and so very profound.
I mean, I will say what I feel strongly, though, is that, for all the stresses and changes that we're living through and experiencing, it's such an exciting time because the sciences are so vibrant. And there's a lot of science going on for women that that's quite recent. I mean, in the last 2 to 5 years, there's incredible science for women's mental health specifically, and reasons why. And there's great support out there. There's big science improving all the time. There are fantastic medications. So we're so lucky to be living now, as opposed to 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when these things were forbidden to be spoken about. I mean, how do you begin to deal with that? You can't deal with it with your friends, with yourself. So really, this is a very hopeful time if we remain proactive in seeking
Keyword,
help. Yeah.
keyword, if the woman said, if we remain proactive. So that means we all have to care about ourselves enough to take care of ourselves. We have to guard our mental health as justly as we guard our physical health, our emotional health, our spiritual health. It all has to be guarded, especially, would you agree, Linda, with so much information coming in from the internet, from the TV, is information just everywhere. Everybody's got something to say about what they think mental health is, even though they may not have a mental health condition or know somebody with mental health. We have to really guard what information we hold to be truth and not. The fact that you, Linda, are doing a true story tells me that you hold truth. This is not some game. It's not. I like talking sometimes about the deep, profound things that not so Hollywood. Oh, everything is wonderful and everything's pretty and everybody's lovely and everyone's got money and all of that. And that's just, it's not true.
No.
There are a lot of people that appear to have money that don't have anything at all. It's all on paper. You guys wake it up out there. Learn, watch, read, study. When we're walking around putting ourselves down, saying, oh, well, I heard somebody say, well, they must have insurance. They're wealthy. They live in Pacific Palisades. Well, maybe 50 years ago when they were really hot in entertainment, they had all that. But now, 80 years later, whenever it is, their whole financial circumstances might have changed. And that one home in Pacific Palisades or whatever might be, or maybe the only thing that they have to hold on to.
Correct.
So let's all understand that anyone, I don't care how much money, how much social prestige, we can all have mental health and be affected by the degrees of trauma that we experience from day to day. Now, Linda, I want to talk more about the Rubicon Theater.
Okay.
The length of time is going to be there. I know the number is 805 667-2900 for anybody that wants to call them in case we can't remember everything because we're talking and going back and forth, and the mind can only accept so many things at one time. But the name of the play is Crazy Mama. Linda Purl is the artist. I want to know how you met Anson, and I know you said you've known them a long time, but how did you guys meet enough for you to become the person they want to pick to
Well,
their crazy
Anson and I are both Happy Days alum. Anson, was one of the
Happy
stars
Days?
on Happy
Remember
Days.
Happy Days? Yeah,
And I came onto that show the first couple seasons as Ron Howard's girlfriend.
that's right.
So that's when we met, and and then Anson went on. Besides continuing his work as an actor, he's became a wonderful television director. So through the years, he's directed me in a couple of TV things, and then socially, our lives would overlap, and that's the case for really so many of the Happy Days cast members. It was a tight weave then, and it remains pretty tight even all these decades later. So anyway, so that's why I'm in Anson's life and he's in mine. And we were saying the other day, could we have imagined when we met 50 years ago that all this time later, our lives are
Wow.
weaving again? It's fun. Yeah.
Isn't that nice? So
Hmm.
anyway, shout out to the people that have known each other for longer than 5, 6 years. Okay, so there is
It's
something
fun.
to it's
Oh,
fun
yeah,
knowing people and seeing everybody grow and change over time and
for
see
sure.
their creative juices come alive and stay alive. Well, how have you has the just go back to the fire real briefly. Has it affected any of the studio work or anything? None of the theaters. I know Rubicon is okay. It's fine. It hasn't been
Rubicon
affected
is-
by anything, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It hasn't. I mean, a few years ago, I can't tell the difference anymore between 5 and 10 years, but there was that huge fire in Ventura, and they didn't burn down, but the city was so brutalized by the fire. It was certainly affected then. We were okay. Our neighborhood was fine, only because of the first responders. We were very lucky. We were at the edge of the Palisades fire, but by the time it got up to the northeast corner of that fire where we are, I mean, we were evacuated for 8 or 9 days, but um, the helicopters were able to come in, and that's what made the difference. They were able to lay down, uh,
Water.
retardant and waters, and we had over 550 fire people on the front lines of that fire in our neighborhood, and so we were spared. Our neighborhood was untouched. It's
Wow.
unbelievable. But I, like you, I'm sure I know 8 people and counting who have lost their homes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Many with the shirt on their back. I mean, nothing.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Ugh.
unbelievable how we as humanity have to learn different things in different ways. And it's interesting because everybody is okay when everything is good is going on. And I challenge us all to have that same kind of feeling of spirit, unity, and love when the dark things are going on as well. Because if
Well,
dark doesn't happen, we don't appreciate anything. And unfortunately, sometimes I don't know why I'm not the omnipotent, the omnipresent, overall overseer of all worldly affairs. But I will tell
mhm.
you that as a human being, I've seen magic when
Mm.
people's lives are in sync and in rhythm. I've seen magic just like it's magic. I've seen dark, when everything looks despairing. And then I've seen people walk out of that dark and into light, into a brighter future. So,
Yeah.
what do you think, Linda?
Oh, I do. I mean, I've been astonished. I'm sure you've seen it too, at the level of generosity and synchronicities and kindness, random acts of kindness in Los Angeles. It's just magnificent. That's where God is. God may not have been in the fire, that I don't know, but he certainly is in
Yeah.
this explosion of generosity, kindness, helping, supportive. I mean, even the first responders, I think, they were pulling 48-hour shifts with no
I
sleep and
know.
working in these horrendous, and you think about, okay, they were able to do that because they made a decision, and they
To
they
do it.
they, they did it. They overcame all their own resistance, and their best selves came forward. And I mean, I didn't know that we were living with so many angels around us, but we
Yeah.
were, and we are.
We're having some technical difficulties, you guys. The winds are really high for people that are in other countries, other places. The winds are really high here in LA. We're hoping they don't get any higher than what they are now. And I am, you know, talking to Mama Nature every day of my life, asking her to
You
be
bet.
forgiving,
You
asking her to be
bet.
forgiving, to be resilient, to be,
Yeah,
please, we don't know what we're doing. Help us. You know,
the truth.
that's how I
Yeah.
look at things. You know, as a Buddhist, we have a term called Eshofuni, which means the oneness of life in its environment. So take that any way you want to. The oneness of life in its environment. The oneness of life. That's an internal life too.
Hmm.
Life is internal and external. It's both. The one you can't see, the one that might be lying, cheating, stealing behind the mask that smiles and says,
Hmm.
"Hi, everybody. I love you." That one. That's the one I'm talking about.
Right.
So when you go to the Rubicon Theater, Crazy Mama, a true story of love and madness. This woman again is playing 16 characters. I've only seen about 3 characters in a play. I don't know what 16 might be like, so I want to go, you know,
Okay,
and
I
see.
hope you
I'm
do.
gonna go,
I
yeah,
hope you do.
because I want to see what they're doing. It goes from March 26th to April 6th
Yeah.
at the Rubicon Theater. I think the Rubicon is in Ventura County, right? Yeah, yeah,
Yes, it
yeah.
is. It's
Yeah, it's on
downtown
Main Street,
Ventura.
1006 East Main Street in Ventura, California, 805, not Ventura County, but Ventura, California. So that's pretty close. I think everybody can get to there. And
Yeah.
it's 805 667 5900. Yeah. Oh, 2900. Sorry. 805 667 2900. The Rubicon Theater. True story, Crazy Mama, about mental illness, how it affects the person with it, how it affects the people around the person with it,
Hmm.
and eventually how it affects a neighborhood. You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
sometimes mental illness can extend outside of the front door where people go outside and then they start acting out their mental illness on other
Absolutely.
people. That's when it's at an escalating, very dangerous thing when you don't forget, and then you just go out and start letting it out on other people. So again, it's a very complicated subject. Linda, what are we going to be doing next? Well, you're going to be in a play for a while, so are we doing some acting too? You
Well,
in
let's
terms
see.
of
Yeah,
TV and things, or you're just playing straight?
let's see. I'm going to do some concerts. I'll do a concert in Los Angeles at the Catalina Jazz Club in
Oh wow, the Oh Catalina.
April. In April, I think that's going to be in April.
Okay,
So that's fun. That'll be very different from Crazy Mama, which is a
yeah.
serious drama with a lot of humor in it, but it's a serious drama. And then this is just a jazz concert with my guys, and I'm looking forward to that. It'll be a nice shift of energy after the
Well,
play.
tell us more about now. Again, we're talking to someone multi-talented, okay? So we know that she can act. She was in Happy Days. Don't forget she was, if you remember Ron Howard, who I adore, if you ever want to come on my show, please, please. One of the human beings that I've encountered in Hollywood, just the same nice person every time you see them. Those kind of people that are just the same nice people every time you see them, even if they don't want to be bothered because they're stars and you're poking a camera in their face, they still smile, give you a hand salute, and say, "How you doing? I'm still the same person."
Hmm.
So anyway, but come out and see Crazy Mama. So she sings. She's going to be doing acting 16 characters in that play, but you can also catch her at the Catalina Bar and Grill. Is
I just
Catalina still
looked
on
at,
Sunset Boulevard
yes, it is. I just looked up the date for that. That's March 16th.
for
Yeah,
Catalina?
16th for Catalina. Yeah,
Okay, so Catalina is actually before she
for the play.
does
Yeah,
the one woman play, because the play starts on March 26th and Catalina
26th.
starts on March 16th.
Hmm.
So in Preclude, she's very beautiful. If you remember Ron Howard on Happy Days, the girlfriend, very cute, hasn't changed a button. She hasn't looked
Thank
just
you.
as lovely.
Yeah, goodness.
Love the haircut and everything. So she
Mhm.
looks very cute. So again, please support if you know anyone in your family, if you know your friends. Don't, I know we may be thinking that we're protecting them. I did this. I
Mm.
thought I was protecting someone because I didn't want to let their family and friends know something might be wrong. The person isn't responding in a way that normal people would respond at this age. or during this time. And so, you know, a lot of people protect us. I myself, my children used to tell me, because I'm a military person, Mom, you should go, you know, have yourself checked, blah, 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 blah. And so it is through the love and caring of other people that supported me to push me to go get help so that I could be a healthy person, so that I could be balanced and be a balanced individual.
Right.
So it's not just for the person, it's for everyone around. Everyone has the ability to bring themselves to balance, but in order to do that, we have to know what the imbalances are. Don't you think, Linda?
I do. Information is always helpful, you know, and if you have a strong village around you to love and support you, and if need be, a good medical team, you know, there's a way forward. I'm convinced there's always a way forward.
I like that. A way forward. There's a way forward. Don't you love that thing? There's a way forward. So again, let's thank Linda Purl, actor, performer, singer. Crazy Mama is coming out March 26th at the Rubicon Theater. That's 1000 East Main Street, Ventura, California. 805-667-2900 is the number in case you want to call. You forget about it, forgot to write it in your calendar. You might be busy right now while I'm talking. Don't forget, come out and support her, support this topic. It's something that we need to not to be afraid of and to talk more about. Talk more about it at your dinner table. Don't be afraid to share your deepest, darkest thoughts to those that you care about, that you know they love and you trust them. Key word, you trust them. Okay? So don't forget about me, along with, let's shout out to our sponsor again, Kevin Pike, certified senior probate and real estate specialist for Coldwell Banker. He'll take care of you. Believe me, trust me when I tell you. 818-571-5808. 818-571-1508. I'm sorry, I had to twist it in my mind talking about numbers. 1508. Don't forget about me. Look me up on IG, Osiris_Munir, the painter. Also, Express and Abstract.net is the website, and 15 Minutes to Show on YouTube. I love you. I can't say that enough. I know people say they love people out there, but I really do love you. I mean, I care about you enough to do this show and try to bring you best information we can bring, the beautiful guests that we have. So I need your support in order to do that. We need the numbers. Take the time to listen. It's a talk radio show. Sam Hassan, the owner, is doing a wonderful job at bringing us on and letting us have wonderful guests like Linda Purl. So let's thank her again. Linda, do you want to say anything else before we leave?
No, not a thing. I appreciate the visit and look forward to seeing your work. So thanks for sharing your audience. I appreciate it very much.
All right. And we appreciate having you, and you can feel free to come back at any time. And again, go support her. We need support. These artists are out here working to bring you, the audience, entertainment, to bring you their talent. We're sharing our talent with you. We're sharing that. This woman is giving an essence, a part of her being to you when she's on stage, and bringing it, opening up and becoming transparent and let you see all of who she is and what she can be. She's a badass. So thank you again, Linda Purl.
Thank you. You have a good day. Stay safe. All right.
With another 15 minutes of show. I will rock with you. Rock with me. Okay. Don't forget to smile. It works wonders. Bye-bye.
You are listening to 15 Minutes, the show with Osiris Munir, only on LA Talk Radio.